This weekend, United travel to Tottenham, and they do so with the rare luxury of actually having the best injury record in the Premier League, which is baffling. We've got one player out currently, Lisandro Martinez, as he recovers from his ACL rupture from right back at the start of the year it was. And we're facing a team with currently the worst injury record in the division. So it's a nice illustration of where we're at. Nothing against Spurs, you never wish injury on any player. You shouldn't, anyway. Maybe one or two exceptions, but the point that's worth stressing is how nice it is to see the state of United's fitness compared to this time last year. If you go back just over a year to Erik ten Hag's penultimate game, a 1-1 draw at Fenerbahce, he said this afterwards: "When you don't have the players available, you can't line up the best team, and that is what's holding us back at this moment. We need more players available. And then we have to work all together on this point. That is the players, the coaching staff, all the other staff. We have to do better to get more available players. Because we know when we have them, we're a really tough team to play. And when we have them, we can be really successful." Now, Ten Hag's next game would be his last, that ludicrous 2-1 late defeat at West Ham, which was missed by something like 9 players through injury. Now, Nus Mazraoui went off injured late in that game, just as Anthony had gone off injured in the previous game, having come on himself as a sub. 2 games prior, in a goalless draw at Aston Villa, both Mazraoui and Harry Maguire went off injured at half-time. So that's 4 injury-enforced changes in Ten Hag's final 4 matches, so things plainly weren't right. In total, United had picked up 19 injuries in the opening 10 weeks of last season. Now, the rate did slow after Ruben Amorim's arrival in November, and although there was a clear look of exhaustion and fatigue about the players, again, take Mazraoui, I've never seen anyone look so tired as he did in the Europa League final when he came off. But there were changes implemented towards the back end of last season that have started to have positive results. This season has continued that trend. For starters, no major injuries sustained in pre-season, which is massive. Last year, Lenny Oro broke his foot against Arsenal. In the same game, Rasmus Højlund did a hamstring, I think it was. The year before, also against Arsenal in the States, Kobbie Mainoo suffered an injury, a knee injury, which ruled him out for months. Young players who were sort of earmarked for major roles in those seasons, they didn't even make it to the start of the campaign to opening day. And they all missed months of the campaign and were playing catch-up. Everyone who was involved in this summer's pre-season has already spoken about how great it was and how important it is to have that pre-season under the collective belt, because it just gives you a base to build on. With more time, more regularity, there's also naturally an adaptation to the demands of the sessions that are being put on. The players look more robust, stronger, faster. They're fit for purpose now, basically. And that hasn't been the case for a long time, but it's a base requirement of any successful club. If you want to build something, you can't keep changing the parts mid-construction. Amorim came out in his press conference on Thursday, ahead of the Forest game, to say that Lisandro Martinez had been pushing to get back involved and he wanted to play at Forest. But Ruben said he wants to go to this game, but he's not going to go to this one. He's going to take time. He started training with us, but we had to change some things in the exercise for him, so slowly he's going to get better. He started training with us, but we had to change some things in the exercise for him, so slowly he's going to get better. Now, having seen Leacher arguably rush back from major injury before, it's reassuring to see those around him pumping the brakes on his behalf for everyone's long-term benefit. United had a reported 66 injuries during the course of the 23-24 season, which is absolutely crazy. In the first quarter of this season, we've had 8. So if you extrapolate that, that's 32 over the course of a whole season, which is less than half of 23-24. So progress is being made. Obviously, unquestionably, the lack of European football is a factor, because more rest and recuperation always helps, and it's no coincidence that if you look at the other end of the injuries table, the top 4 teams, Spurs, Arsenal, Crystal Palace and Liverpool, are all in Europe this season. It takes a toll, obviously. There's a little irony in the fact that the squad is now better balanced than it was last season and better equipped to deal with playing weekend, midweek, weekend. But right now, I would hope that there is work taking place towards a long-term vision where we have an even more balanced squad that can deal with increased demands next season in line with a return to Europe. That has to be the aim, you would hope. And the flip side of all of this is, again with a little bit of irony, is especially without the League Cup, is that Amorim now doesn't have enough games to satisfy his squad. Everybody's fit, he can't get them all the playing time they need. Players who need minutes, Kobbie Mainoo, Josh Zirkzee, currently the subject of a lot of rumours about temporary or permanent moves away. Plus, there's going to be more big players left out when Martinez does come back, because even with 3 central defensive berths, there's not enough to go around for all the players that we have. But it's clearly better to have too many options than too few. And if we get to January and the manager is happy with the composition of his squad, if there's any reinforcements that come in or whatever, it might not be the worst thing in the world to let a couple of big name players, say Kobbie Mainoo, go out and get some playing time and have them back next season, hopefully with more football to play here. Something somewhere looks to have changed. I can't claim to know what they're doing differently behind the scenes at Carrington these days, but whatever it is, it's currently working. Better people than me have spoken about the need for the club to work towards a cultural reset. I've explained before, from what I've seen over 20 years inside the club, is just how widespread that reset needed to be throughout almost every department. But what we're seeing currently suggests a massive improvement, and a huge problem is being addressed, and that can only be a good thing.